So we're going to click the iMovie icon at the bottom, and we should be greeted by some tutorials, and then eventually you'll get to this create new area for the media for the project. You just go ahead and click on it and create a new movie. We are now going to import the video and the images and some of the things that we've created along with the background music just by selecting File, Import Media. I'm going to locate the items on the desktop, and then I'm going to find what I want and Shift Select and import everything at the same time. This will allow me to kind of scrub over and see what I've got. I've got some still images, I've got some movies here, I've got a vertical video that I'll show you how to fix, another video here that's pretty long, and 2 background pieces of audio. So let's get started. Now before we can start, obviously I don't have my narration, so I'm going to use iMovie to create the narration, and the way it's going to work is like this. I'm going to need something to anchor the audio to in order to work with this narration. So I'm going to go to my title slide, and just by moving my mouse over these titles, I can see how each one is going to animate in. And I kind of like this title as my initial title, so I'm going to select it and drag it into the timeline. Notice that you can actually change the length of the title here, and by clicking on the title, that'll allow you to create the title here. So this is my title, and you would probably name it something else and add some additional text. You have a bunch of elements up here that you can work with, so you can make it left aligned, right aligned, change it from bold to regular. You can change the font here. Those kinds of things. So there's a lot of things you can do, right? But this is where I'm going to start, and you can see this is the only thing in my movie at this point, is this animated title. I'm going to click on the title, put my playhead at the beginning, and the way we record audio is this little audio recording button here. If you click on it and your playhead is at the beginning here, you can see that it's just sitting there. You'll get the little start record button. I'm going to click to the right to show you that my input source is a blue snowball, which is what is available in the lab right now for me. But normally you would just do the system settings, your built-in microphone for your laptop, those kinds of things. The way it works, you just go ahead and click once and you will get a count in, and then you can actually start narrating. So I'm going to click once, I get a 3, 2, 1 count in. And at this point, you can kind of see that the narration actually is starting to record, and it's just being recorded into iMovie at this point. Continuing the record, I can see on the bottom left-hand corner the time going by. We're at 14-15 seconds at this point. And normally, I would just be slowly reading off of my, my narration sheet. I could read some of the writing tips here. What we hear should supplement what we see. Try not to describe what we see. Write so that we can get the feeling of being in the space. Write about hidden elements that we don't see. What is not in the frame. So that would be an example of some of the things that I would record. So I'm going to stop the recording just by clicking the button one more time. And now if you see, I can actually see my voice right below the title slide, and you notice how it extends off the title slide. There is a zoom tool at the upper top part of this bar, and if you pull it back, you can actually see the entire voice narration. Now if you wanted to continue with your voice narration, you couldn't just start here and then click. You notice how the audio is not available. You must tie it to a piece of media. So you can kind of see how this piece of media is holding this piece of audio. So just be aware, if you need to record something else, you're going to need something else to record to. So either make it all in one take, or go back here and then start recording. And you'll notice that if you do that, you can in fact have multiple pieces of audio tied to the same thing. Now eventually you will move this piece of audio to another location in space. So I'm going to stop the recording, and there is 2 pieces of audio and they overlap, so if I were to play them at the same time, you might be able to hear that they actually are going on at the same time, which is kind of crazy. But you can move this once you have more video to work with somewhere else. Okay, I'm just going to leave both of these the way they are. The next thing after you've recorded your audio and it's the full length of the video, go back to My Media and then go ahead and use your notes to kind of place things in the order you wanted them. So for instance, maybe this is how you wanted to start it off after the title. So you start here. Notice that once you do that, and notice that this is a really, really long clip. So you can actually trim the clips just by grabbing the ends of the clips and bringing them in to make them a little shorter. So here's what I have with the spacebar. I'll play. I'm going to turn down the sound so you're not annoyed. Once I start having these things assembled, I'll put another photo in here, maybe another photo here. Maybe this is how I want it, and you can see visually where things are. You can now start to move that audio and snap it to a different piece of media. So now I can actually start this audio here. I can move this audio over here. So now we have the title slide coming in, and then you will hear. So you can see the video and hear my voice. Now, my voice is not very loud here, and you can hear that I can actually hear the background of the speedboat here. You can actually visually see it as well. If you click on this clip or click on this clip, you'll notice that things change up here. And I'm going to click on the audio from my voice clip. And notice that because I've recorded this, this is checked automatically to lower the volume of every other clip so that the voice takes precedence. This is really great. You can actually dial in how much you want it to lower the other clip, so you can make it really powerful. In other words, your voice will be the dominant audio, or you can put it over here where you can actually hear other things going on. So that's something to be aware of. I've selected my voice audio, and I have this lowering the volume of all the other clips. If I select my video, you'll notice that it does not have the ability to, or it does not have checked the lower volumes of other clips. In fact, what I want to do for the video is just actually dial down the audio to 0. And you'll notice that when I did that, this volume here just lowered to 0. Now you don't have to make it perfectly 0. You can see that bringing it up or down affects it. But maybe I want it to just be subtle. Remember, you're going to have an audio track playing. This track can also be, you can modify it using some of the other things. You can give it some white balance if the white balance is not correct. So you can just click on that and then say, what's white in this space? And I'm like, that's white. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. You can modify some of the effects to make it black and white or a little bit warmer, right? You can crop the video, and in fact, we're going to go to the next one, and I'll show you how that works. Let's put in a piece of vertical video, like right here. So you can kind of see that starts here and then starts here. And you'll notice that when this vertical video, I have these black frames on the side, and I really don't want that. So again, by selecting this video and then coming up here to the crop area, I'm going to crop to fill. And what it's going to do is it's going to make the shape of my video, and it's going to say, where would you want this video to crop into? And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I hit the checkbox, and lo and behold, now I do not have a vertical video any longer. Again, I want to check my audio to make sure that it's not if it's not actually playing too loud, so I'm going to bring that down. And just continue on. Now, you'll notice when you drop in images, I'm going to just drop this one in, you'll notice that it automatically has some Ken Burns effects going on. So these are completely adjustable because this is kind of an annoying effect. Maybe I want to actually see the person and end up at the person instead of like ending up looking at some pipes. So again, I'm going to just double click this to bring it into focus. It's another way of clicking this crop tool, is just double clicking this. And you'll notice I have a start and an end point because currently it's set to Ken Burns. Now this last video was cropped to fill. So if you just want this to be a still image, you can actually just have that be a still image, hit the checkbox, and just like before, you now have this image on for 4 seconds. You can extend it to longer or shorter just by pulling it out. All the images are infinitely expandable. But if you want to give it a little bit of dynamics, let's double click it again. Ken Burns, the way that this works is it gives you a box to start and a box to end. So for instance, if I ended here and started bigger, what would happen? Well, obviously it'll zoom into this man. So let's see how that looks. Okay. So you can kind of see, but it's a little grainy at this point. So what I'm going to do is go back by double clicking it. And let's just make the ending and the starting. Now, what happens if we want to start like here and let's say start here and end here? Well, this will be kind of like a pan. It'll go from one side to the other with him on the edge of the frame. So we can actually see how that's going to look. I'm going to hit plus and we're going to hit the space bar. So again, and if you extend this, what happens is that this now goes much, much slower. So the longer the media, the longer that Ken Burns effects will take. So if you want something to feel a little bit like it's slower, either make these elements closer together, so that'll be slower, or expand the amount of time that image is on the screen. Okay, so as you can see, this is the start and end point. I'll just give it a little bit, make it a little bit more subtle, right? And on this one, I'm actually not going to have any zooming going on. So I'm going to click on the first one and the second one, and I'm going to make them the same size. When you make something the same size, it actually creates what looks just like a pan. So you can kind of see it just panning here. And I'm going to expand it. Okay, and the idea is like you're putting in these images. This is a little too much. Okay, that's really nice. Okay, so you can kind of see how this will work. And what you do is you continue working, putting all your images in, making sure to turn the volume down on the video, making sure that it corresponds to the audio that you've recorded. And now if you need to move your audio recordings around, as long as you have a piece of media to snap to, you can kind of see that it'll actually allow you to put that in. All right. Next thing we need to do is to put in some of the transitions. Now there's currently the transitions between pieces. You can see, I'm going to do this again, watch the screen. That's called a straight cut. Right? It goes from one thing to another, but you can put something in here to make it softer. So if you go to transitions, you'll notice there's cross dissolve, cross blur. By dragging a transition in between two clips and letting go, what you get is a different type of an effect, a different something a little bit softer. So sometimes it's good to have straight cuts. Normally they denote same time, same place. But if you want to like talk about like something at the beginning of the day and then at the end of the day, having it fade means that time has changed a little bit. So the fades are used to denote a change in time. Finally, we're going to add in, I'm going to go back to our media. And so I've picked up a couple of like background music pieces. So here's one right here. So I'm going to bring this into zone. So I'm just going to bring it all the way down to the bottom, and you'll notice the line that actually happens here, and it's going, and then I'm going to let go. And notice now this is your background track that's like different from everything else. And you'll also notice that here where there is narration, the music actually got lower automatically, because remember, here we made sure that it lowered the volume. Like if I uncheck that, watch the background music. See how background music kind of pops back up? So by automatically lowering the sound of the background music, your voice will be more dominant. So for instance, now you can still adjust the audio for this background track either by pulling on this line here or going up here and pulling on or using the slider. Either way will actually adjust it so that when you're talking, so this will allow you to modify things. Now, if for whatever reason your background music doesn't fill up everything and you need more, you can always drag the same thing in twice, and then just butt it up with the original, and you'll just kind of repeat. In other words, this was a way of looping the audio for your piece. Okay, I'm just going to delete that. Once you have everything you like and you've added your end credits, so here maybe we want to do something simple. I don't know. Here's some. Okay, I like this horizontal blur. I'm just going to add it at the end. Thank you for watching. And then we obviously want to add a little bit more music because we want to make sure we still have music going on. And I'm just going to put that here. Do the same thing. Now, eventually, you will move this piece off. So notice how there was no transition here. That was really nice. But now I'm going to zoom out so I can crop this audio so that it doesn't go beyond my project by pulling it in. It even snaps. Now here's a nice little feature at the corner at the end of the audio. You'll see this little dot, and if you click on it, that's kind of like a fading out. So you can actually have the audio fade out, so it'll actually fade down as this title is going out. And again, you can double click the words, and I think I did this already, but I forgot to hit the checkbox. So don't forget to hit the checkbox or you'll be redoing stuff. There we go. When you're ready to export all this and send it off to your professor or to YouTube, go ahead and go to Share. So File, Share, and you will be sharing this as a file. Okay. And you're going to make sure it'll tell you some information. It's currently 1 minute and 37 seconds long. It's huge. So, if you're not using Google Drive, this is not going to get to whoever you need it to get to. The format is audio and video. Resolution should be 1080p. Let's see. Quality, you can make this high. Compression, better quality will take longer, but notice it doesn't change too much. I'm going to hit the next button. And then I'm going to save it to a place where I can find it, like my desktop. So example, movie, and hit save. It takes a while. You see up here, it's still actually writing the file. So sometimes it takes a while to actually create the movie. By the way, the reason I did something that I'm glad I did because it was a mistake. I had this selected and then I exported or shared the thing that's on the desktop. If you have something selected and you share this, take a look at what we actually wound up with on the desktop. So let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. You can kind of see that it has no video available. So make sure that when you're ready to share, you deselect everything. Go to File, Share, File, and you can kind of see, you can even scrub over now. And by me not having something selected, everything has changed. Notice that the resolution can be 720p, quality high, and by scrubbing over it, you get a preview of the entire video. Hit the next button. And this time we'll actually finish at final movie and hit save. And that did go too fast on the last one. And you'll see that it does, in fact, take a little while for it to fully export. So right now it's actually writing the file to the desktop. Wait for it to complete and look on the desktop for your movie. Now, because this is iMovie, you don't have to worry about saving the project. You just have to go back to the same computer and open up iMovie, and the project will automatically be back in front of you. Okay, so it's been saved, and here is my final movie, and you can kind of see how that looks. And at this point, you can kind of see that the narration actually started to record, and it's just being recorded into... Okay, and so that gives you a little bit of a sense of like how iMovie works. Hopefully, if you need more help with iMovie, there's some great tutorials here. So you can go to the iMovie help area and get some overviews about the movie, how to use iMovie. Also online, there's some you can get some good iMovie tutorials as well. Hopefully this makes sense. Again, if you start with good quality video footage, good quality narration, you should end up with whatever program you're using, a really nice quality video. Some of the things that we forgot to talk about, I'm just going to go over them really quickly before we end. I'm just going to double click this image to bring it open here. Some of the images you have might actually be not rotated correctly. So again, if you go to your crop tool here, you'll notice that you can actually still rotate things here as well. So if it wasn't rotated correctly, you can rotate both video and audio as well. You could use the Ken Burns effect, by the way, on video as well as on photography, right? Now, if you want to give your entire project a different feel, everything looks a little different, right? You can actually do that using this button right here. And this gives you access to a bunch of filters and effects. So for instance, if you want to select a clip and actually make it black and white, you can kind of use this filter to create a black and white look, right? And that's it. The information button gives you some information about what's going on. If you have background noise that you want to remove that you need, you can use this equalizer area, right? We talked about the audio already. You can fix some shaky video, handheld video, with some of the stabilization. Try not to do it too much, but if it was moving a little bit, then that will actually smooth everything up a little bit. I talked about the cropping already. Talked about some of the white balance settings here, match color, skin tones. Hopefully that helps. I'm going to select everything here, and I'm going to go into my filters here. Let's see, where are the filters? There they are. And I'm going to actually, because I've got everything selected, this allows me to affect the entire video with that look. So you can kind of see now everything has the same look just by me selecting everything as well. Okay, I hope this helps a little bit. Great.